Hello. Have you ever thought about the risky hunters face when they entered bear territory? Hunting in bear country brings the possibility of a close and dangerous encounter with one of nature's most powerful predators. Will you know how to react in a split second to protect yourself? Today, I will tell you the story of the unfortunate hunters. Story 1. In the rugged, remote wilderness of the Kamchatka Peninsula in 2007, a horrifying tragedy struck. One that would send shockwaves through the small communities living on this vast, untamed land. Kamchatka, known for its rugged terrain, dense forests, and numerous volcanoes, is also home to one of the largest populations of brown bears on Earth. These bears are massive, powerful, and territorial. While many residents are used to sharing their land with these giants, the encounter that unfolded on this day was unlike anything they could have prepared for. The victim was a local hunter and fisherman, whose name remains unpublicized. Bears were a constant presence on Kamchatka, and most people who lived there had learned to give the creatures a wide berth, respecting their space and their unpredictable nature. That autumn, the region's bears were facing a harsh season. Food was scarce, as salmon runs had been low and the berry crop had suffered from the cold. Hungry and increasingly desperate, the bears grew bolder, wandering closer to human settlements and following scents they'd usually ignore. The local authorities had issued warnings, urging people to be cautious. But life had to go on. Hunting and fishing were essential for survival, and the men of Kamchatka knew the risks that came with venturing into the wilderness. On the day of the incident, the hunter had gone out alone, prepared with his rifle and gear, ready to bring home what he could. Hours passed, and as he moved through the forest, he noticed signs of a bear nearby. Deep paw prints and the scent of a nearby animal hung in the air, a clear warning that he wasn't alone. But for someone experienced like him, these signs were routine, part of the landscape. He continued, keeping his guard up but confident he could handle himself if needed. However, as he pressed further, he suddenly found himself face to face with a massive brown bear. Unlike the wary creatures he was used to encountering, this bear did not back off or retreat. Emaciated and desperate, the bear saw the man as potential prey. In seconds, the bear launched itself forward, covering the ground between them with terrifying speed. The hunter barely had time to react. He aimed his rifle and fired, but the shot only grazed the bear, further enraging it. Despite his strength and experience, the hunter was no match for the raw power of the starving animal. The struggle was brief and violent, ending with the bear overpowering him completely. By the time the forest fell silent once more, the hunter lay motionless, his life taken in the very wilderness he had called home for years. A search party was organized, and they eventually found his remains, a grim reminder of the dangers lurking in the wilderness. The bear was nowhere to be seen, perhaps retreating deeper into the woods after the attack. The local community was devastated, mourning the loss of one of their own to the brutal reality of life on the Kamchatka Peninsula. In the aftermath, officials reinforced the importance of bear safety measures, stressing that even the most experienced outdoorsmen could fall victim to these unpredictable predators. Kamchatka residents knew well that these brown bears, driven by hunger, could act with little hesitation if they saw an opportunity. The tragedy served as a reminder that the wilderness, though beautiful and essential to their way of life, held dangers that could never be fully controlled. Story 2. In 2013, bear. Likely a large male black bear, although reports vary. Black bears, while usually timid compared to grizzlies, can become highly aggressive when food is scarce, and this one appeared to be particularly desperate. In an instant, the bear launched itself toward the man, closing the distance between them with terrifying speed. He likely had only seconds to react, a heartbeat of time in which he would have tried to raise his weapon or back away. But the bear was relentless. It attacked with brutal strength, using its claws and teeth in a frenzy of aggression. Unlike most black bear attacks, which are defensive or prompted by sudden movement, this bear's aggression was unusual and deadly. The bear, likely driven by hunger, seemed intent on overpowering its victim completely. By the time the man's remains were found, it was clear he had fought valiantly. Signs of a struggle were apparent, with the area disturbed and evidence that he had attempted to defend himself against the massive animal. Tragically, his efforts had not been enough. The remote location delayed any hope of rescue or intervention, and by the time others arrived, the bear had vanished into the forest, leaving behind only a haunting scene. The tragedy sent a ripple of fear and sorrow through the community. Many people in the area knew the victim and they mourned his loss deeply, aware that this could have happened to any one of them. For wildlife officials, the attack underscored the risks that can come when humans and wildlife share such a close habitat, especially in years when food is scarce. In response, local authorities increased their efforts to educate residents and visitors about bear safety, reminding everyone to stay vigilant even when bears seem a distant threat. For anyone venturing into bear country, this story serves as a stark reminder. No encounter with a bear should ever be underestimated. It's crucial to carry bear spray or a reliable weapon. Stay alert to your surroundings and, if possible, avoid traveling alone in bear-active areas. The sad truth is that, sometimes, even experience and caution may not be enough against a determined, desperate animal. This man's tragic story highlights the untamed nature of the wild and the respect and caution that it demands. Story 3. In August 2018, a terrifying bear attack in Alberta, Canada, left both a family and community in shock. The victim, 31-year-old Dustin Roy McLean. For him, spending time in the backcountry was as natural as breathing. Dustin had spent countless hours hiking, fishing, and camping. His experience made him confident in his ability to navigate through the woods safely. He understood that the wilderness held dangers, but he had developed a strong respect for nature's risks and, like many seasoned outdoorsmen, had learned what he thought was a balanced caution. But even a skilled outdoorsman could never be fully prepared for what he would encounter that fateful day in 2018. On August 24th, Dustin set out on a solo trip into the dense woods near his home. He planned to spend a few hours fishing and then return before dusk. The area he chose was known for its serene landscapes and abundance of wildlife, including black and grizzly bears. Bears were a common sight in Alberta, especially as the late summer months brought a need for them to fatten up before hibernation. Local authorities had issued notices reminding people to stay vigilant, as hungry bears were increasingly bold in their search for food. As Dustin ventured deeper into the woods, he began to see signs of wildlife. Tracks and claw marks hinted that bears had been active in the area recently. Nevertheless, Dustin proceeded, likely confident that his knowledge and experience would be enough to keep him safe. But unknown to him, a large black bear was closer than he anticipated, and perhaps far more desperate than any he had encountered before. At some point during his trip, Dustin's path intersected with the bear's. Whether it was attracted by the scent of fish or just agitated by the sudden presence of a human, the bear charged Dustin in a brutal, aggressive attack. For a lone man against a bear, there was little time to react or strategize. Dustin fought back, but the bear's size and power were overwhelming. He tried to defend himself, but his efforts were no match for the relentless animal. By the time the bear retreated, Dustin was critically injured. His body was discovered later, showing clear signs of the violent struggle he had endured. Local authorities and wildlife officers arrived at the scene, piecing together the grim reality of his final moments. The attack left the community stunned. Many had known Dustin as a capable outdoorsman, and the realization that even someone of his skill level could fall victim to such an attack struck fear into the hearts of residents and visitors alike. In the days following, Alberta's wildlife officials reminded the public of the precautions necessary for venturing into bear country, especially as hibernation season neared. Officials were quick to point out that a bear's behavior can be unpredictable, especially when food sources are scarce and desperation sets in. For anyone traveling in bear territory, Dustin's story is a sobering reminder of nature's unpredictability and power. When in bear country, it's crucial to carry bear spray, make plenty of noise to alert wildlife of your presence, and, if possible, travel in groups. Solo trips, while exhilarating, come with their own set of risks. Bears are instinct-driven creatures, and even experienced outdoorsmen can fall prey to their strength if caught off guard. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get our latest videos on outdoor safety and wildlife. Stay safe, stay alert, and we'll see you in the next one.